Do world events change U.S. asylum policy? Have you ever wondered how global events shape the way the United States approaches asylum? It's a fascinating topic that reveals much about our immigration system. Let's break it down together. World events have indeed influenced U.S. asylum policy throughout history. When major crises arise, such as conflicts or political turmoil, the U.S. often adjusts its asylum and refugee admissions. The goal of U.S. asylum policy is to protect individuals fleeing violence or persecution in their home countries. This is based on international agreements like the 1951 United Nations Refugee Convention and its 1967 Protocol, which the U.S. has adopted. These agreements ensure that refugees are not sent back to places where they could face danger. For instance, the Hungarian Revolution in 1956 prompted the U.S. to use presidential parole powers to admit around 30,000 Hungarian refugees. This set a precedent for future emergency admissions. Similarly, after the Cuban Revolution in 1959, many Cuban political refugees sought asylum in the U.S. This led to the Cuban Adjustment Act in 1966, allowing Cuban refugees to apply for permanent residency. The end of the Vietnam War in 1975 saw the admission of approximately 300,000 Southeast Asian refugees through parole authority. Special resettlement programs were created to help them start new lives in the U.S. The Mariel boat lift in 1980 brought around 125,000 Cuban asylum seekers, resulting in the Cuban-Haitian Entrant Program to manage their resettlement. These examples illustrate how U.S. asylum policy adapts in response to global crises, often expanding protections and creating special pathways for affected populations. More recently, political administrations have also influenced asylum policy based on global events and domestic priorities. For example, during the Trump administration, refugee admissions were significantly reduced, reflecting a shift toward more restrictive policies. In contrast, the Biden administration increased refugee resettlement numbers. For Middle Eastern immigrants and asylum seekers, these patterns indicate that U.S. asylum policy can shift based on conflicts or humanitarian crises in the region. Staying informed about current U.S. policies is essential, as they may change with global events or new administrations. Seeking legal advice can help you understand how special programs or parole authorities might apply during times of crisis. It's important to remember that asylum protections exist to prevent forced return to danger. However, the process can be influenced by political and international developments. This perspective encourages hope and preparedness. While the immigration journey can be challenging, U.S. asylum policy has evolved to provide refuge to many fleeing hardship worldwide.